All right, welcome to the Barndos Builds and More podcast by the Contractor. My name's Nick Holmes. I'm here with Matt Delohe with DCI Construction. Welcome, Matt.
How we doing? Glad to be here today.
Perfect. Yeah, so I want to go ahead and bring you on. I know this has been something that we've talked about a lot lately and kind of getting involved in the barndominium side. I know you were one of the first people that really came to us interested in getting involved with all of this. So
Yeah.
I want to kind of pick your brain on some of the more specific things throughout construction.
All right.
Why don't you start off by introducing yourself, let everybody know what you do.
My name is Matthew Delohe. I'm a second generation owner of DCI. We've been around since 1973, so we've definitely had all the ups and downs and learned along the way.
Yeah,
We are a local remodeling specialist here in Hernando County.
awesome. Yeah, so 1973, that's a couple
We
economic cycles, huh?
We just rolled 50 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So it was started by your dad?
Yeah, my dad started it. Yep.
Awesome. Perfect.
So,
So what type of construction do you do? Is it mostly remodels? I mean, is it
Yeah.
full houses?
now we've moved pretty much just to remodels. We moved out of a lot of the new construction. Timing wasn't good with the economy and everything else. The remodeling was just a better fit for us for.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a different price point altogether.
Yes.
And if you can get specialized in that, I'm
Yeah.
sure that definitely helps. So
Indeed.
perfect. Awesome. So, you and I get to start working together on barndominium projects with the Cook project that you
Cook
brought to us.
project, yep.
So yeah, that's actually, if you've seen any of those videos that have come out recently about us walking that site,
Yep.
that was all Matt here. So I think you're going to be paramount in building most of that one, right?
As much as possible. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. So we'll definitely look forward to all that. Some of the other stuff that we've been working on in the past was some of the cabinet stuff. And, we get these questions all the time. If you haven't seen just yet, we're filming this today on Wednesday, so I don't know when this is actually going to make it out to you, but we do officially have a spec list for our base pricing online now. So
Perfect. That's going to help people a lot, I'm sure.
it's going to answer a whole lot of questions, hopefully.
Yeah.
So a big question that we get, though, is on differences of cabinets. So we're telling everybody that, our base level cabinet that we're starting with is an RTA, which is ready to assemble, right?
Yes.
Reagan always corrects me on that, goes ahead and really wants to hop in and explain that to people. So I use a lot of acronyms that
That's fine.
need explaining. But so on the ready to assemble stuff, we're going more with like a plywood base to start off with on our cabinets. But can you shed any type of light on, what the difference is and where price points are?
So a lot of people don't realize the difference in the cabinets, and you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of other contractors, other vendors are going to sell you particle board based cabinets and not even start with plywood. The issues we see with the particle board cabinets is they're not as durable. Humidity, moisture, you mopping the floors, just life is going to deteriorate these cabinets.
No, is the particle board skinned with like a laminate type thing?
It does have a veneer on the outside.
Okay.
But I mean, it's still, we joke, it's cardboard internals.
Yeah.
And once they soak up moisture and they swell, they delaminate, they come structurally compromised. You start getting counter movement, and it's a snowball.
So those are all the cheap ones we see people leave on their patios and outdoors that just completely fall apart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are going to be the swollen piles of nothing.
Right.
Yeah. So with DCI, all we install is 100% plywood cabinets.
Okay. Perfect.
We don't even offer particle board because it's not going to last. It's not the kind of quality we want to install.
Right.
So your plywood cabinets are absolutely going to be your best option. You're going to be able to take life's abuse through the years. If they get dented and beat up, they're an actual solid wood cabinet. They can be corrected, fixed, stained, repainted, whatever needs to be to address them down the road.
Gotcha.
And even as far as all of how the hinges and everything attached to the cabinets, you just have a much more structurally sound cabinet when it's actually secured into the plywood and not just the particle board.
Gotcha. Can you explain a little bit about the hinges on that too? I mean, we've been kind of telling people that like a standard hinge versus a soft close hinge is going to be a different price point. Is that something that, are we correct in saying that, first of all?
Yeah, there is an upgrade to go to soft close hinges. I think it's definitely worth it. It's something I would never pass on.
Right.
We just include it in everything that we do on our industry side because, like I said, it's not that much more cost. It's definitely worth doing.
Right. Okay.
It's just going to keep your kids from slamming your doors, silverware sliding everywhere, everything just getting disheveled in the drawer.
Getting all out of whack.
Yeah.
And tilted and skewed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what would be our next step from like a plywood cabinet? I mean, Ready to Assemble has a wide range of cabinet bases, right?
Yeah, they've got a wide range. And typically, you can make up the space with filler and placed in the correct areas. You're not going to notice it. We want to maximize your storage space. We don't typically like to use blind corners. We want to use, accessible corner cabinets with lazy Susans and stuff. Blind corner cabinets, it's stuff you put in there that you just forget about or you just can't get to, or you got
sheet pans and pots and stuff like that you never pull out, right?
It's the Christmas pans and grandma's cooking dishes all buried in the back.
Well, and you guys do the actual layouts too, right?
Yeah, so we do 3D virtual renderings of the kitchens. So the clients can open and shut all the doors and drawers. They can get a good feel for the kitchen. We've had clients that say, honestly, I'd like this cabinet to open the other way, and that's fine. In the design phase, we can change all that, and we can make sure the cabinets are swinging where the clients want them, because my vision may not always be aligned with the clients. Mm-hmm. So, we give them the 3D rendering. They can spin around through the whole entire room. They can look up, down, like I said, open and close all the doors, and just get a real feeling of what the kitchen's going to really be like at the end.
So, and with that too, I mean, something that you and I talked about on some of our models was, hey, this probably isn't the optimal layout for this kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure you get to see a lot of bad designs and a lot of good designs separately. What necessarily would you say goes into a better design for cabinets as far as appliance spacing and stuff like that?
So for appliance spacing, we try to make it basically a triangle in the kitchen. So we try to get from sink to stove and refrigerator basically in a triangle configuration. We don't really want you to have to walk around an island or a bar to get over the refrigerator and then come back across the room to get back to the stove. Mm-hmm. So we try to keep everything within a 5 to 6 foot triangle is our goal. Obviously, some layouts don't really allow it. One of the great things about the barndominiums is you can place your walls absolutely anywhere. You're not really constricted.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's everything's non-bearing, right?
Yeah. So it's amazing for us because we can make the kitchen fit the design. We don't have to do it the other way.
So when you're laying stuff out, I mean, do you ever give kind of credence to how close the refrigerator is to the living room, or is that just you really focus on the kitchen area specific?
We really just try to focus on the kitchen. Sometimes we'll try to, depending on how the layout is and if they still have a formal dining room, we'll try to coordinate everything to where it's more aligned with the dining room. But as far as the living room, we don't ever put much thought into that.
Okay. When we see some of these higher end homes that we deal with, a lot of times we're going to see like Sub-Zero fridges that have cabinet faces and stuff like that. Is that more through the cabinet company side of things, or how does that necessarily work? Can you add a cabinet face to any type of Sub-Zero fridge?
Yeah. So with the Sub-Zero fridge, any of your industrial fridges like that, they have different ways the panels attach. It does cause us to make a custom panel that the doors attach to, but yeah, we've done that plenty in the past.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, it's just a cost upgrade, but it's definitely not an issue.
Right. Do you get into any type of the like custom millwork type stuff? I mean, we've had a lot of requests probably in the last 6 months, maybe a year, of people want these kind of hidden pantries where we're going through like, cabinet doors into a separate room area. Is that something you've come across?
Yeah. So we've done a couple of those. Again, those are, custom made. They're on site. But what a lot of people don't realize is you actually have to have a full wall of cabinets to do those hidden pantries.
Right.
So you have to have, example, a fridge on the left and then pantries to the right. We've had a lot of clients that it's this trending thing. They see it on TikTok and Instagram. Oh, that's great. You want to do a hidden pantry. But there's no cabinets to the right of it. You have no way of really making a hidden pantry.
Right.
And when we go back and explain it to them and they go back and watch the videos, they're like, oh my God, you're right. That's an entire cabinet-based wall. So it's definitely doable, but it does have to be brought up early in the design, and we have to design the kitchen around that feature.
How much would you say that TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that really play into the types of requests that you get?
Lately, it has been a lot more than I would like.
Yeah.
We've had some clients that just have very unrealistic expectations because they see a whole entire house get remodeled in a 60-minute show, and we think it's a joke sometimes, but we're like, that was actually months worth of video edited down into a 1-hour show. And it's funny, people, I don't know, they don't have they just don't realize it for some reason.
We had the opportunity to work on a project for Extreme Home Makeover. I don't know if you remember that show or not.
Oh yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, the whole thing was built a house in 7 days, and
yes,
you know, it's these tight time frames. But you don't realize, or I guess a lot of the people watching that don't realize that is a 24-hour a day site. They've got on-site inspectors. They're never waiting on anything.
No,
you know, it's moving. So people have no concept of how long construction.
No,
really
and that's
takes.
why these shows have impacted people's expectations.
Yep.
So we've had to adapt to setting the actual expectations with the clients, and that way they're not disappointed when what they think opposed to what they get.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a huge part of the reason that we opened the Contractor the way that we did, is trying to set that transparency and kind of bring trust back to the industry, because you get a lot of people that try to go ahead and just conform with, oh yeah, we can absolutely do that, and then 6 months down the road and you still have half a house built.
Yes. People want the same day delivery. They want the Amazon Prime of remodeling and building, and it's an unrealistic expectation. So
yeah, absolutely.
I give you guys props on the transparency on that, and that's going to help change the stigma that's kind of around construction.
Let's try, man. I mean, we're in Florida, right? So we got a lot of problems that revolve around contracting. But
yes,
you know, you just mentioned same day service and stuff like that. I know before we got started here, you're talking to us about the supplier that you use for a lot of your cabinets being local.
Yes.
How's that impact, you know, your service in general?
Yeah. So for us, our supplier is actually now based right over here just out of Orlando. So say we get into doing a kitchen and there's a damage to the cabinets, or there's an issue, you know, the wrong cabinet got sent, or any kind of issue that we come across, we can have same day results. We can drive over to Orlando, pick up that material, that cabinet, whatever we need, come back, and we don't have that 6 to 8 week delay of a lot of this RTA out of state, you know, cabinets have to come from overseas and whatnot.
Right.
And we can get same day service. And then on top of that, our supplier offers us outstanding warranty. We had a client that went almost 2 years out and had their cabinets get damaged from a tenant. They called us, explained it. We had damaged hinges. We went in, and instead of our supplier charging us for them, they said, it's not a problem. We'll overnight those hinges to you. We want to make sure the client's happy. And that's just kind of warranty you don't see anymore.
That's huge.
People don't stand behind their product like that.
Nobody.
No.
So especially when you're dealing with overseas suppliers and stuff like that, just getting anything out of people is sometimes just impossible.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, we see that a lot on some of these mini split systems and stuff like that people are buying. You get one part fail on, you know,
the whole unit's down.
Yeah, it knocks out the entire unit, and then what? You're 3 to 6 weeks and waiting on parts coming back in.
And I'd say that's a hopeful expectation for 3 to 6.
So I mean, back during COVID, we had that whole period of time where, you know, the microchip shortage was the big thing, right? So we couldn't get anything electronic for forever. But so being that they're over in Orlando, is that a distribution point, or is that a manufacturing point?
No, the manufacturing comes mostly out of North Carolina.
Okay.
The Orlando place is just a large distribution warehouse.
Well, it's awesome that you have stock that close.
You know, we have personal connections there. We can call and speak to the same lady or the same guy every single time. So
just being able to talk to somebody is huge.
Yeah, we actually get a human right out of the gate. It's not press awesome. 1, 7, 3, pound 4 times.
Right.
Yeah.
So in cabinet design,
yes.
We've got a lot of different styles of actual cabinet face, right?
Yeah.
Cabinet doors.
Yes.
With a RTA cabinet, do we still have that many different options? Obviously, custom, you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But,
so even on the RTA side of the world, you're going to have somewhere between 12 to 15 different door/color options. You know, you can move up to a slightly higher RTA grade, and then you can move into the hundreds of options. Almost.
What would make the difference in different grades like that?
You're looking at about a 10 to 15% jump to go from, you know, say your standard RTA to more your high-end one, where you can actually pick your finish. You can do line glazes. You can really get creative with it.
Okay, that's
they've made it pretty attainable for everybody.
So really, the higher end RTA then is just the more options that they're allowing you to make.
You get a lot more options. You actually get to select color of wood. You can get, you know, oak, maple. You can get hickory cabinets. You know, they give you a lot more options, and you know, you're not honestly paying that much more to get those options like you would have 10, 15 years ago.
That's awesome. Yeah. So people, I think, have some type of maybe a preconceived notion that a lot of cabinets in custom homes should be custom cabinets. Is that anywhere near realistic anymore?
No, not at all. So the supplier I use in Orlando, we actually just installed those in a well over $1 million home. And it's really how you design it. You can stack glass cabinets on top. You can double stack crown. You can make them look significantly different from just your base cabinet with no light rail and no crown to glass faced finished interiors.
I didn't
lit.
even think about that. The whole lighting and stuff like that goes along with that. I mean, there's got to be so many different options that you gotta hit with people.
There's a lot of options because like I said, you can do finished interiors. You can do clear glass front, frosted, hammered glass. I mean, it's option on top of option on top of option.
Definitely a lot of stuff that goes into that. That's awesome. So when we start talking about cabinets, we're always kind of associating countertops along with that, right?
Yes.
I know we talked briefly about how there's not really a huge difference in pricing anymore between Formica and like a level 1 granite. Is that something that you've kind of seen?
That's correct. We don't honestly even offer the Formica anymore. The amount of material we have to put into the substrate to build the countertop to then put the veneer on it, it's just not worth it. I mean, people are going to scorch it, cut it, damage it. So it's going to chip and peel.
What do you mean when you're saying the substrate to go ahead and install it?
So underneath the countertop, underneath Formica, you end up building an 1.5 inch countertop. So you either have to do, three.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you put 3/4 inch plywood twice, which at $90 a sheet. Your material adds up extremely quick.
Gotcha.
So you actually have to build a wood countertop underneath it, and then you just put Formica, glue it on top of it.
Gotcha.
But with the Formica, you're not going to have any kind of decorative edges. It's all going to be hard, basically sharp corners. You're not going to get any radius corners out on your countertop. It's
okay. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's not as user friendly, in our opinion.
So with everything switching over to granite, then we would probably see mostly undermount sinks at that point too, right?
Yeah, we're going to go to all undermount sinks.
Okay. So just being able to throw out like a ballpark, I know we've kind of told everybody I think it's around like $55 to $65 a square foot for countertops.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Okay. So
that's a good starting point.
Okay, perfect. When people are going ahead and going through the process of designing a home, one of those selection points is typically going to be like picking out the type of granite they want. So do people still go out and pick out the slabs that they want, kind of reserve slabs, or is there a different way to go about that?
Yeah, we can send them out there. They can see and touch their slab and actually put their name on it, and that's going to be their 100% slab. But I mean, for a lot of your granites and level 1, level 2 quartz, it's going to be pretty consistent across the whole spectrum.
Right. It's like a Baltic brown is going to be a Baltic brown.
It's going to be the same all the way across. Yeah. So you just tell them, I want this color. I mean, but we still have clients that want to go out there and pick their own slab, and that's completely okay. There's not an issue with that at all.
Yeah, I know back when we were doing more of the track home stuff with, previous companies that I've worked with, that was always kind of a pain point was, sending people out to go pick out the slab, and then the slab disappears between the time that they pick it out and the time install happens.
So there's that. There's we've had they've had mechanical fails at where they fabricate it, and they're carrying the whole slab in on the forklift and the clamp lets go. And now they call us, hey, that hand-picked slab is in 400 pieces now.
Yeah, come get it.
Do they want to come pick another slab? Do we just we go with that exact same color? What do we do? And that's always an interesting phone call to make.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the construction industry in general, right? Whenever you're dealing with natural products like that, you're going to have even just material defects where, you might have a vein going somewhere that's
you're going to have veins, or they'll call them fissures. It's just natural, basically crevices that are through the material, and sometimes when they go to lay it down on the big CNC racks, they crack.
Yeah, that's insane. So what else should people know about the stuff that you do specifically every day? I mean, I know I don't want to sell you short here and say you're just the cabinet countertop guy, right? So, doing all these remodels, you're also I'm assuming bathroom remodels and additions, stuff like that.
Yeah, we're doing anything that's got to do with remodeling in your house. Anything you guys want, it's something we can handle and address. If not, we'll get you referred in the right direction.
Where do you like working at?
Pretty much anywhere within an hour of Spring Hill here.
Okay.
We'll travel. So we'll go up in the Inverness, Citrus area, and then down as far as I'd say middle of Tampa. We have one job right now in Clearwater, but it's a repeat client, so we'll extend our drive a little bit for.
So one of my favorite questions to ask for people that do kind of wide scale stuff like that is, what is your least favorite building department to work with? Let's not
least
shoot,
favorite is
shoot yourself in the foot there, but
be Hillsborough County.
Yeah, in that area.
Yep. They're rough. They're rough to deal with down there.
They are. I mean, we found that a lot of change of staff was a lot of the hard part for us for a while.
Yes.
During COVID, I feel like a lot of building departments lost a lot of the kind of institutional knowledge that they had.
They lost the veteran people that had all the knowledge and or the workarounds to problems. And you have a bunch of people who are just green and they don't know. They're just
all right.
They have the book smart, but they don't have the real life experience yet to.
Yeah. No, it seems like from our experience, things are kind of getting back on track to where people are kind of settling in.
It's getting better.
Figuring it out. But what in Hillsborough County, what is your kind of average permit time right now? Do you know?
So our last remodel permit took 6 months to get.
Wow. Is that anything special about that one, or is that
was a little 400 square foot addition? No, there was no reason it should have taken that long.
That's one of those things that makes me so happy about living in Hernando too.
Yeah.
Hernando Building Department really does seem to have a lot of their stuff figured out. And,
they do.
Aaron Poole's over there kind of running the whole thing, and he's a good guy. He's got a lot of stuff figured out, and he's kind of shaped that around. I think a lot of their permit times that they're seeing are only around like 28 days for full houses.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
Most of their stuff we're seeing in under a month. I think the longest one I've had recently was 6 weeks.
Wow.
But it was on a commercial job, and there was retro permits that had to be pulled. So there was some inherent delays.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's something that we try to go ahead and kind of nail home too with people, is that you might be starting to sit down and kind of plan out your design for these Barndos. We're not breaking ground for another 3 months.
Yeah.
You got a month and a half in actual the design phase.
Yeah.
Then you got another month and a half in permitting.
Yeah.
Right.
You're in the holding pattern, circling the airport.
Right.
Waiting
Exactly.
to land.
So as much as we want to go ahead and hop into it sometimes and get it going, it does pay to kind of figure things out on the front end.
It does. The faster people can really make decisions, it really does speed up the process.
Right. Absolutely. Well, perfect. Is there anything else you got for us?
No, I think we're good today.
Yeah, perfect.
Just keep the questions coming in. We'll get them answered.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'm so happy that you're able to sit down with us and kind of go over everything that you got coming in. And I'm looking forward to working with you on a couple of these projects here and get going on Barndos.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks.